Welcome to Community Health Matters. I'm your host, Amy Marsalis. It's a new year. If you're working on resolutions, listen up. On today's show, we're learning about best practices for exercise, nutrition, and mindfulness. All of that coming up next on Community Health Matters. From the News Channel 5 network, this is Community Health Matters, sponsored by the United Health Foundation. I can honestly say this is the first time on this program we've had a master strength coach. Tash Weddle is my first guest today, and so excited to talk to you about this training center that is about more than exercise, really, for women. Tash, you started this after quite an extensive career working at various programs around the country at universities. Tell me a little bit about your background and what led you into this new program.
Well, my background started being the fact that I'm 6'2" and I'm from Indiana, and
I feel so short, I know.
played basketball, and I had a lot of injuries in college, and I spent a lot of my time in the weight room, rehabbing and getting strong and setting goals and meeting them, and realized how empowering that was for me at that time in my life. And so after college, I became a college strength coach and worked at multiple universities. But then after a certain point, 17 years of that, I was kind of I wanted something different. And so I partnered with the current Habitat for Humanity CEO, and we started a nonprofit called the New Beginning Center. And our mission is to empower women through the same platforms of fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle coaching. And so we provide that at no cost for most women.
What an interesting partnership, you know, with Habitat for Humanity. I mean, it really makes sense, but that's really innovative thinking.
Yeah, she was on the retiring from her career, and I think wanted to take on a major project. So it was very helpful that we met at that time.
You offer so much more than exercise. Obviously, that is your background in strength training and more. Tell us about some of the other services you provide for the women who are eligible for this program.
Well, it's a holistic program. It has to be a holistic process, and to me, it's a change from the inside out is what we're going after. And here's the thing: yes, we help women lose lots of weight and get off medications and the such, but that is not the goal of our program. It is about, I call it a happiness program. And so there's a lot of life coaching. We do personal mission statements and vision boards, and we provide workshops on anything and everything that I think would help, such as financial well-being or decluttering your house or adverse childhood experiences. Anything and everything that I think is going to help these women live their best life, we do it.
So maybe give me an example, without naming names obviously, but maybe give me an example of someone who has come to you. Give me an idea of where they were and where they are today after going through this program.
Yes, so we've had multiple success stories of women getting off medications, avoiding bariatric bypass surgery or kidney transplants. But the stories for me are when women, you know, leave an abusive relationship or go back to college and, you know, face their fears with that, and, you know, or have a major job change. So this is an example of how we treat ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually affects every other aspect of our lives.
It's all intertwined. Everything's connected, which we're going to talk about also body and mind later in the program, the connection, body-mind connection, mindfulness. Who is eligible then? How does someone get to this organization?
So this program is for everyone. We're targeting women of lower income, and what that means is we're going up to 150% of HUD housing. So for example, a household of two with an income of less than $52,000, the woman pays nothing. Wow. And then if their income is slightly over 150% of HUD housing, there's a small sliding scale fee. We don't want cost to be a barrier to anyone with this program. And it's a year-long program too. It's an entire year.
So do you talk about a mission statement. So is that's one of the first things that someone would develop, a mission statement?
Actually, that's at the end of our initial 12 weeks. So it's a pretty intensive first 12 weeks where women are coming 2 to 3 times a week, and we're working on nutrition coaching, habit-based nutrition coaching. We're working out, exercising, and we're also doing weekly lessons, and that's one of them.
How many women could be in the program at one time? Are there classes, basically?
So in January, we're running 3 groups, and each group will be 15 to 20 women. We also have satellite programs at St. Luke's Community House, on the east side. We have programs at Madison. We have programs. So.
What are some of the biggest achievements you have seen? You're saying women getting off medication, maybe leaving an abusive relationship, losing weight, maybe some other stories of accomplishments.
It's hard for me to pinpoint it to one person because I see this time and time again, but the thing that makes me the happiest is when I see a significant change in a woman's happiness and her self-confidence. And you can see it. The first day they walk in, they're scared to death. By week 10, they're just on cloud 9.
You see the light come on,
yes.
Probably. The light just turn on in their eyes, whatever. What do you think are some of the biggest obstacles to women practicing self-care? Is it, I would imagine, whether it's time,
sure.
or if it is an abusive relationship, or money?
Yes, yes. Well, I think what happens is women typically take care of everyone else first and themselves last. And that's the thing I see reoccurring. But also there's a big fear of failure, which prevents people from ever getting started, is they think they have to do this perfectly, and you do not. You just have to stay in this for the long haul. It's a lifestyle. It's not a temporary thing. And
it's not competition with anyone else.
Right.
It's just being a better you, right?
Exactly.
Reaching your own potential. How much exercise do you need each week? Like, does it just depend on the individual?
Well, the government, has their recommendations of 150 minutes of moderate activity, but research shows that people who get 300 minutes or 5 hours are the happiest with their body. We know from research that exercise is as effective as Zoloft. And recent research even claims that being unfit is more unhealthy than smoking. So we really need to get a little movement every day. And so I encourage women to get at least 30 minutes of movement every day.
And again, that doesn't mean you have to go to a gym.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay. For those watching who maybe want to start exercising more, they just don't know where to start, how to start. Again, they're not a member of a gym. Give me some tips. Give them some tips.
Well, they can go to the New Beginning Center's site and check us out. We also have some online workouts, but really I suggest starting, if they have no experience with anything, just walking and starting with a goal, whatever it is, that they're 90% certain that they can achieve, because most people, 80%, actually get hurt within the first 3 months of starting a new exercise program, which a lot of people are doing in January. And they go out of the gate so hard and then they're injured before they ever give themselves a chance. So starting slow.
All right. Tash, this is just a fascinating partnership. I really think it's incredible what you're doing, and good luck in the new year with changing lives, transforming lives.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll be back with a lot more right after this. It's a new year, hopefully a new you, and that you're going to subscribe to better eating habits. I know I'm going to try this year. Dr. Brittany Robertson joins me now to talk about this and to talk about the fact that only 1 in 10 adults in this country gets enough fruits and vegetables. That's a sad statistic.
Yeah.
Can you talk about why that is?
Yeah, well, just having access to the right foods, having the knowledge about what food you should be eating, how much food you should be eating, I think all that plays a role into why there's a deficit in how many adults in general are eating a proper diet.
When we talk about fruits and vegetables, let's talk about the best of the best when it comes to fruits, because I know a lot of the fruits are very high in sugar, and I mean, still it's a better choice than a piece of candy,
Right.
because it's the natural sugar. But what are the fruits that you really like, that you think are the healthiest?
Yeah, so I think of fruits, anything with the name berry on the end, so like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, those tend to be lower in sugar. Any of the fruits that have a core to them, like an apple, something like that, those are lower in sugar as well. So if you kind of stick to those fruits, then you're safe.
Okay, finish this sentence for me. Good nutrition equals...
I would say good nutrition equals a healthy, balanced diet, eating a variety of foods, eating the proper portions of those foods. So think that a colorful plate is a healthy plate.
All right, let's talk about some of the current dietary guidelines. It seems like it's hard to keep up with the different guidelines you hear from the government. So what are they?
So think of basic general plate is about 9 inches in diameter. You want half of that plate to be fruits and vegetables, then a fourth of it to be your grains, which are basically your carbs, your rice, your breads, your pastas. You want to focus on whole grains, those are healthier, and then the other fourth of the plate is your protein.
Just a fourth of the plate?
Yes.
Is it still, like they talk about the piece of meat, whether it's beef, pork, chicken, to be about the size of the palm of your hand? That's what I was taught a long time ago.
Yes, that's correct. So a typical portion size is about the size of your palm, or think of like a deck of cards as well.
Okay. In terms of meats, you still prefer fish, chicken versus beef?
Yeah, the lean meats are healthier for you, so stick with your fishes, your chickens, you're safe. Kind of beef, pork in moderation.
All right. What is your perfect breakfast, or what do you tell patients the best way to start their day? It's not a sugary cereal, is it?
No, it's not. I would tell them to stick to something that's high protein, low carbohydrates, low in saturated fats as well, low in sugar. So that's the best way. If you're doing milk, low fat milk is best if you're going to have that with breakfast.
Do you like almond milk?
Yeah, almond milk is good too. Yep.
What about smoothies?
Smoothies, but it depends what goes in them. If you're putting like bananas, peanut butter, the things that taste
that
good.
sounds good.
They are good, but they can be high in sugar as well. So you have to be mindful of that.
So spinach, maybe baby spinach, almond milk.
Or like kale, that's a good
kale.
leaf as well.
So we're not over kale yet. Kale is still good, right?
It's still good.
Okay. Foods we need to just say, okay, let's go to the pantry and get rid of this stuff. What do we need to eliminate from our diets?
I never necessarily recommend to completely eliminate things from your diets. I try to stick to lifestyle changes that you can carry out long term or that are more realistic. So when you go to completely cutting out things, that makes you crave those things, and then when you give in, you just kind of, it's hard to stop. So I say cut back on foods that are high in sugar, high in calories, high in saturated fats. Keep those at a minimum. Focus on more protein, low carb diet, and you're safe with that.
What is going to make you feel the fullest? I think a lot of people, you know, if you do have, let's say, something with a lot of sugar or a lot of fat, it doesn't stay with you long. I mean, you're hungry again in a short amount of time.
Right. Yeah, it tricks your body into initially thinking you're full, but then after an hour or two, you're looking for that next meal. So if you're doing a good lean meat, some vegetables, some fruits, those are going to stick with you longer throughout the day, and also drinking plenty of water.
Water all the time.
Yes.
Okay. More small meals. Do you like that concept of maybe 5 small meals a day?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea to eat small meals, 5 to 6 small meals spread throughout the day. That way your body kind of feels like you're constantly providing it with nutrients. You're not going to get as hungry. So when you do eat, you're going to eat a smaller portion. You're going to eat healthier things because you're not starving. Your body's not going to go into starvation mode. So definitely smaller meals throughout the day is the way to go.
We know, of course, that regular physical activity goes hand in hand with a good healthy diet for a healthy lifestyle. What about the updated guidelines for physical activity? It seems like they lowered the amount of time each week that they say you need to exercise.
Yeah, so they're recommending that you do 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, including 2 days out of that week of muscle strength training. So that's using weights or using your own body weight, like push-ups or something like that. The previous guidelines also recommended that you worked out for at least 10 minutes at a time, but they're cut back on that number, and they're saying even just a few minutes at a time is effective.
It really is. Okay, that's important to know for a lot of people who they beg, borrow, and steal to have any time during the day for themselves to work out. So how do we incorporate these healthy habits into our lifestyle when we are just pushed for time?
Right. Well, definitely I would say planning ahead. So if you're planning for the week that's coming up, staying organized, all those things will help you kind of carve out how you're going to distribute your time during the day or during the week. Even having accountability partners, if you want to get together with a group of friends or family members, it will kind of help you to keep each other motivated to reach your goals.
What about going to the grocery? I know that we go all the time, and if you just go when you're hungry, you probably are going to buy the wrong foods, right?
Yes.
Planning again.
Exactly, yes. Going when you're hungry, definitely going to spend way more money and end up buying things that you don't need. So if you plan out your times, like these are your days or times during the week where you're going to go, and kind of stick to the plan you have, and that's the best way to go about it.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Dr. Robertson, for coming in and
Yes,
sharing your knowledge with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and we'll be right back. So excited about my next guest. Not that I haven't enjoyed every guest so far, of course I have, but Dr. David Vago is here from Vanderbilt, who is with the Mindfulness and Meditation, or Integrative Medicine Center at Vanderbilt. And mindfulness and meditation is really the focus there, something we all need desperately in our lives. You see thousands of patients every year.
Yeah, we see 17,000 patients a year with different conditions, from everything from just stress-related health issues to chronic pain, diabetes, heart disease. So there's a variety of conditions that people show up at our door for.
So it could be physical health issues, pain, mental health issues.
Yes, and there's usually a combination of those issues. So most people that show up at our door have chronic pain, so there's a physical medical condition that we're treating, but the psychological or mental illness or psychological problems that sort of coincide or that come with the physical issues are usually also treated in our integrative approach.
Let's talk about integrative and what that entails. This is a holistic mind-body kind of treatment.
That's right. So the integrative approach, first and foremost, is holistic and relationship-centered. And so really what that means is that we focus on the individual patient, the provider, and the healing environment. And so from that perspective, we treat the whole individual, which means we really focus on not only multiple modalities of organ systems and parts of one's life, so whether it's cognitive, emotional, spiritual, psychosocial, all these aspects of one's life is considered in our intake, the way our medical providers first get a more comprehensive understanding of the medical history. And then we have about 40 medical providers, researchers, and administrative staff that vary between medical doctors, nurse practitioners, acupuncturists, massage therapists, meditation and yoga teachers. And we take this sort of holistic approach at using all modalities to help the individual create a healing environment for themselves.
So mindfulness and meditation are often used interchangeably, aren't they?
Yes.
How do you distinguish between them?
Happy to make that clarification. So meditation comes from origins of Latin and French, really just meaning thinking or contemplation, these types of processes. From the historical Buddhist context, meditation is a word that translates from the Sanskrit word bhavana, and really just means cultivation or mental development, really referring to a process of cultivating familiarity with one's own mind. So that's where meditation, the word meditation, comes from. So in essence, really, meditation is just any practice that focuses on contemplating one's own mental habits. Mindfulness is a little bit trickier to define. It's defined in many different ways. So in the most simplest of terms, you can describe mindfulness as a state of attention that focuses on present moment thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment. And that's a state of mindfulness. Now, we can also describe mindfulness as an intervention or as practice. So the practice of doing mindfulness meditation, for example, involves just observing one's thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment, so cultivating this state of awareness, while observing these thoughts and emotions and sensations come and go like they're passing clouds in the sky.
I see. So you're not beating yourself up for maybe you're having negative thoughts, or you know, you're feeling bad about the way someone's treated you, or maybe the way you treated someone. And instead of beating yourself up, you're letting that pass.
That's right. You're not focusing on it, and you're not letting it take over or overwhelm you. You're letting it go. You're really doing it in a sense of openness and acceptance. This is the critical sort of features of doing this practice. And the idea is to do these practices they're often put together, mindfulness practices, and the state of mindfulness is cultivated through these meditation practices, not only to improve that state of awareness while you're meditating, while you're sitting on a cushion, but then to also employ them in all of the aspects of normal everyday life. So when you're driving down the road and somebody, cuts you off, when you're at the holiday dinner table, which is all going to be familiar to us now, and somebody's got something controversial to say, or just the thoughts and emotions that are difficult in your life, to be able to just be open and accepting of those as they arise and pass.
In this final minute, gosh, I could talk to you for an hour or more. What are some of the success stories you've seen when people incorporate mindfulness and meditation into their daily lives?
Oh, wow. So there's lots of data now suggesting that these are evidence-based practices that have really positive effects in the most rigorous of studies that's showing improvements in depression, anxiety, and pain, chronic pain. So really on how we deal or cope with pain, not necessarily that it's reducing the experience of pain, but how we cope with it improves. Yes, and it's changing the brain in many different ways, especially in ways that we can allow us to become more aware and regulated in how we stabilize our attention and our emotion, and how we become more aware of our body.
Fascinating topic. I wish we had more time.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much for coming in. I
Happy
really
to be here.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem.
All right, and thank you for watching Community Health Matters. Learn more ways to improve your health on our website, mycommunityhealthmatters.org. And remember, here in Middle Tennessee, our community health matters.